Mayor Mark Sheldon is pushing for a $10 million pedestrian bridge to connect Frank Brown Park to Aaron Besant Park. It's great for music festivals. It's the city's #1 priority this year. They've got a bunch of projects, and they plan to spend $236 million. 2 years ago, the budget for the city was only $42 million. That's why locals are paying so much more in assessments to the city. Mayor Sheldon says it's worth it. After all, he owns Gulf Coast Jam. The city's #1 priority will benefit his music festivals. He wants more state and federal grant money as a slush fund.
These are significant projects that will make a huge difference in our community. The first is to pursue any available state aid for the planning, design, and environmental studies related to a pedestrian bridge connecting Aaron Besant Park and Frank Brown Park. This walkover would link these two public parks and provide a safer avenue for our residents.
Yeah, sure it will. Conflict of interest. He's running again, by the way. He wants you to reelect him as mayor. All right, I've got something to share with you tonight that I've sort of neglected, and I didn't realize it was coming so quickly. I didn't realize that the trial is Monday, and you can attend the trial. There's a local attorney that's pretty popular. People know him, Hoot Crawford. I first met Hoot Crawford when I arrived here in 2007 and started the radio show. And I was covering the boot camp case. Do you remember that? The Martin Lee Anderson boot camp case, where several, they're not guards, they're drill instructors, I believe they were. Anyway, several drill instructors, guards at the place where Martin Lee Anderson was staying. It's like a place where they would put kids instead of putting them in jail. It was a really good thing. But anyway, it's a big deal, and this 14-year-old died when he was in there. And it was so controversial, and it went on for a really long time. And I covered that. First thing I ever did when I got here. And the sheriff's office said, Bernie, he died of natural causes. And there was a video out that looked like they beat him to death. And I assured the sheriff's office that I would be doing all the research, and I did. And boy, did I ever call that one. I said, actually, the young man died of sickle cell trait, which is not uncommon, actually. He suffocated at a cellular level. People said, Bernie, you're insane. What are you talking about? It played out in Judge Overstreet's courtroom the exact same way. You know why? Because I brought on every medical examiner across the country except for Quincy, and we figured it out. And the sheriff's office loved me. They said, Bernie, you're awesome, man. What a great job. What a professional you are. They're not saying that about me anymore. They're really mad at me. And what I'm going to share with you today is not going to help the case. All right. It's going to put me in great jeopardy, I'm sure. But so the point about that story is Hoot Crawford was the lawyer for one of those drill instructors. And that's how I first met him. He represented them, and they won. They were all acquitted because they didn't do anything they were accused of. And it played out just like I discovered it. You know, I didn't try to convince you of anything. I just told you what I saw, told you what I found. Well, now Hoot Crawford, who was a political candidate, oh, you're in trouble around here if you're a political candidate running for judge or state attorney or sheriff. You are in great jeopardy. Just ask Greg Wilson, and even if you get elected, there's a few others you can ask. So Hoot Crawford was arrested on May 6th of 2022 for being an attorney, for representing a client. Oh, buckle up, because this is all happening next week. All right, you say, Bernie, this sounds crazy. I'm going to, again, tell you what I see. And if Hoot Crawford kidnapped a kid and put a kid in danger and ran from the cops and ran over a DCF agent, if he did all those things, boy, I'm going to tell you he did all those things. So WMBB is saying, I'm going to show you all of this, and I'm going to tell you what's really going on right after this. It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan could make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at PCAirrepair.com.
When your life is on the line, hire the lawyer who lives in our community, works in our community, and worships in our community. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
All right, so I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to type so you can find this. You can find all, I'll show you what you can find. You can find at the Bay Clerk of Court all of this. I'm just going to put that up there while I type this up. What I'm going to type up right now and put in the, you know what I'll do? Rather than put it in the comment section, I'm actually going to put it right here. The case number, it is the state of, let's see, the state of Florida versus Billy Joe Crawford, okay? And his, the case number is, and I'm going to write it down so you can find it because it's difficult to find. They make it hard. 2022-019-38CF. Okay. That's how you have to enter it to find it. Here it is. All right. So let's get back here. There it is. So when you go to the Bay Clerk of Courts and you search for this case, it is really hard to find if you don't know how to enter it in properly. But this, my gosh, you will see all kinds of stuff. You'll see the charges. You'll see the depositions of the investigators. One said that they arrested Hoot Crawford for not representing his client very well. Good Lord, have mercy. That's what the defense attorney said to that. I mean, this is insane what I'm going to share with you. So if you want to search for it and you can see everything for yourself, all the depositions of the investigators, transcripts, the state of Florida versus Billy Joe Crawford, 2022-019-38CF. That's how you have to enter the case number. Search by case number. Okay, and then you'll find it. All right, so we took care of that. Now, I think what I want to do is sort of give you a rundown of what the facts are, okay? Then we'll watch how WMBB describes it, and then I'll tell you what this all comes down to. What is the crux of the matter, okay? So Hoot Crawford, he goes by Hoot. Everybody knows him as Hoot Crawford, local attorney. He ran for judge in 2020 and lost to Campbell. All right. And he's facing 4 charges. He was arrested by the Bay County Sheriff's Office, of course, and prosecuted by State Attorney Larry Bassford. He is charged. He's facing charges of 4 of them. 1, interfering with the custody of a child. 2, tampering with a witness/victim. 3, leaving the scene of a crash involving injury. 4, reckless driving and damage to a person. They say he ran over a DCF worker. I've seen the video, the surveillance video from the Children's Advocacy Center. Much of this case, you'll see, will involve video. I'll explain it all to you. You'll see the videos. Not tonight, but in court. They've already been posted online. They've been taken down. So it all happened. It's like a film noir. It all happened back in on May 6, 2022. Okay, there was a 16-year-old girl who was asked to give voluntary testimony, or an interview rather, voluntary interview with the Children's Advocacy Center. She had accused her teenage brother of touching her, and she had recanted that. This supposedly, again, she recanted it, but it supposedly occurred several years ago in Tennessee. And so that's outside of the jurisdiction of the state of Florida, especially the sheriff's office. Even though her brother hadn't done it, she says now, she still was suffering a mental crisis. And her parents hired her an attorney when she was to go give more information to the Children's Advocacy Center. But even though her brother hadn't done it, she, I don't want to say allegedly, because it seems to be the case through the court documents that I've read, that she is a victim of terrible sexual assault over the years. So the girl, I mean, was understandably distraught and in a state of a mental crisis. And now the Bay County Sheriff's Office wants to go back several years and question her about whether or not her brother did this to her. And so she had to, she voluntarily, her parents said, yeah, let's get an attorney, and they hired Hoot Crawford. So Hoot Crawford goes with the 16-year-old girl to the Children's Advocacy Center, which is a private or a nonprofit. It's not like the Department of Children and Family Services that can take you or take your kid. So she wasn't compelled to go, but the parents hired an attorney. Now you say, but Bernie, she's 16 and it's an investigation. I mean, does she really need an attorney? So here's the crux of the case. Two things. The first, was the 16-year-old girl entitled, as a matter of law, to have an attorney present? And the answer is most definitely. In Florida, amended into the Constitution, Florida Constitution, under Marcy's law, a 16-year-old girl who is possibly a victim of absolutely is entitled to an attorney, just like a criminal defendant would be. Okay? Big deal. Number two, when the attorney, Hoot Crawford, took the girl and left the voluntary interview at the Children's Advocacy Center after the Bay County sheriffs began berating him in the lobby and denying him the ability to represent her, he took her and went to his office, put her in his vehicle and went to his office. So there's two major questions here. One, was she entitled to a lawyer? The answer is yes, no doubt. And was she denied a lawyer? Yeah, by the sheriff's office. And then the other question, big question of this case, is who had custody of her when they left the Children's Advocacy Center, which was a voluntary interview? She was not compelled to be there. She was not sheltered by the state. Her parents had custody of her. And they said, hey, we want an attorney with her while she's there. All right, so you've got that. Now, here's what happened from what I've seen. There's a video of the lobby at the Children's Advocacy Center, or the waiting room, whatever it is. But you see in the video, and you can hear, Attorney Hoot Crawford sitting down. And when it's time for the girl to go be interviewed, in an investigation by the sheriff's office, that's what they were saying. Attorney Hoot Crawford said, yeah, but I'm going to be with her when she's back there. Woo, boy. That really, really pissed off the sheriff's office. Lieutenant Jeremy Mathis was standing over, you'll see the video eventually, standing over Hoot Crawford, the attorney, pointing at him, yelling at him, "You are not going to interfere with our investigation." Wow. I mean, he was very angry, by the way. I mean, it wasn't like, I'm a big believer that law enforcement generally should be de-escalating, right? Everybody be cool, especially when you're talking to an officer of the court, which is what an attorney is, an officer of the court. That's why if you have one opinion and a lawyer has another opinion, or a law enforcement officer, the court weighs their opinion more than yours. So Lieutenant Jeremy Mathis is just furious that Hoot Crawford says, "I'm representing her. She has a right to an attorney." And then the attorney, Hoot Crawford, asks Jeremy Mathis, do you have a court order? Like, is she in your custody? Whose custody is she in? "No, we don't have a court order, but this investigation will not be interfered with by you or anybody else." And he said, "What statute gives you the right to prevent her from having representation? Name the statute." "I'm not going to deal with any statute." "Okay, Hoot, you're just not doing it." "Yes, I am," says Hoot. Okay? Until you have a judge's court order that the state has custody of her, I am representing her as an officer of the court. Is this voluntary or compelled? It's a voluntary. We just want to talk to her is all. We just want to get some information, and you're not going to interfere with it, Hoot. I'm not leaving her side." "Well, we got a problem," says the sheriff's office. And boy, did they. So then, that's on video. And then the Department of Children and Family Services, they arrive. And they all say that they're investigating these accusations that were made by the girl, later recanted a long time ago in another state. So it becomes the sheriff's office, Lieutenant Mathis. I mean, it just becomes so hostile and loud and scary that I don't particularly think Hoot was scared, but surely the girl would be. I mean, watching the police yelling at her lawyer. I mean, it's an incredible video. So Hoot says, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do since this is getting out of hand. I'm going to take my client, since she's not in the state custody and this is voluntary. This is really getting out of hand here. And we're going to go to my office. And when you get a court order, you just call me and I'll come get her. I'll bring her back, whatever, if that's what you're going to do. But as long as she's not in state custody and I'm representing her, we're going to leave." "Oh, buddy, you better not." So he goes, he takes the girl, who Crawford does. This is all on video. And they, initially the girl was sitting in a vehicle with a DCF, a Department of Children and Family person. And Hoot says, "Come on, you're coming with me, actually." Okay, so the girl leaves the car of DCF and they go to Hoot Crawford's vehicle. And when they get in, and while they're walking there, a lady who is with DCF, an investigator with DCF, she's walking with Hoot. You can see all this on video. She's walking with him, and Hoot and the girl are walking toward his vehicle. It's probably, I don't know, the vehicles are probably 15 yards apart. parked at the Children's Advocacy Center. So the whole time he's walking there, you can hear Hoot Crawford saying, "I'll be at my office," and she's yelling at him, the DCF lady, "You're not taking her." "Yes, I am. I'll be at my office. You guys don't have a court order. She's not in your custody. I'm representing her. Look, I'm going to be at my office. There's not a problem." He must have said, "I'm going to be at my office," I don't know, 6 times. And so Hoot Crawford puts the girl in the passenger side seat, and then he gets in the driver's seat. And he wants to back out of the parking spot. Okay, so there's a little curb in front of him, like, when you pull up to park. And in front of the curb, there's like a little bit of a yard, right? But you normally don't drive over a curb and, through a yard and leave, right? You back up and you drive through the parking lot, which is what Hoot Crawford wanted to do. But he couldn't because, like the Chinese guy standing in front of the tank, the DCF lady stands right by, she blocks his path. I don't know if that's a false arrest or not, or she's standing in the way of his vehicle so he can't back up. This is all on video. So he's trying to back up. And, he's looking and he kind of sees her. "Are you going to move?" And so finally he puts it in forward and he drives over the curb and they drive off to his office. The DCF lady then pretends that Hoot Crawford ran her over. She said that Hoot Crawford ran her over. She even went to the hospital to be treated for injuries. But in the video, it's very clear that that didn't happen. In the video, it's very clear that he may have touched her when he was backing up. She's standing there trying to block him. He's just trying to get enough room to, he didn't run her over. And you'll all see that. It's a lie. And the fact that she went to the hospital for treatment is part of the skit. So what happens then to the injured woman with DCF? She's walking around mad, carrying a heavy backpack. She's not limping. She's not rubbing her elbow. She's just pissed. Walking around real fast. That guy didn't do what I told him. You mean the attorney representing his client? So, on the way to his office to wait for them to get a court order, the sheriff's office stops him and arrests him. And then they Baker Act the girl, who now has no lawyer, which she is entitled by law. She has to have representation if she wants it, and she did. So then Hoot Crawford's on his way to get booked. The attorney. By the way, when they stop him, he rolls his window up and he refuses to get out of the car for like an hour or so. I mean, he's an officer of the court. This is like a standoff. All right, it wasn't like he was trying to, run to Bolivia with her. He was going to his office. He said, "Look, you guys don't have the authority to do this. We're doing it anyway," sheriff's office says. And they charged him with those things I told you about. So then the girl, they Baker Act the girl. They take her and they interview her anyway. They don't provide her another lawyer. They don't tell her she has the right to a lawyer. They just said, the sheriff's office said, "Look, we just need some information immediately from her." And so they asked her, "What did you and your lawyer talk about?" So the sheriff's office admits in depositions that, yeah, I asked her, what did you say to your lawyer? What were you and Hoot talking about? So the sheriff's office admits to violating attorney-client privilege, denying her which is her constitutional right to have a lawyer present, just like a criminal defendant, according to the Florida Constitution and law. But the sheriff's office said we didn't have time for all that. We needed some information immediately because years ago in another state, she made some comments that we need to check out. There's more to this, too. There is a circuit rule that if you're 16, if you're a minor, and there are these kinds of allegations or questions, if you're a victim or potentially a victim, then law enforcement is not supposed to have multiple interviews. They're not supposed to question these minors who are potential victims more than, say, 3 times. Because you keep ripping off old, scars and Band-Aids and putting these minors, making them relive this over and over. When you got a bunch of men standing around with badges and guns saying, what were you and your lawyer talking about? This is like the 5th, 6th, 7th time they've talked to her. So this is all happening. Trial is taking place on Monday at the Bay County Courthouse. Again, here's the, if you want to look all this up, you can read the transcripts of the depositions yourself. Here we go. This is, there's it. You can write that down. That's how you search it. Search it with that number where it says case number. Write that down, and then you can search it. All right, so that's Monday is trial, criminal trial. The Bay County Sheriff's Office. Now, you heard what happened here, right? The Bay County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Tommy Ford, and State Attorney Larry Bassford, they say that Hoot Crawford, what he did was so egregious that he needs to pay a big price for it. He's a danger to society, to the girl that he kidnapped, and we want him in state prison for a long time. They've made it a major priority. Look at this. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you WMBB's story in a minute, but so look at all this. How much money do you think they've spent on this? So look at all this. These are all filings. This again happened on May 6, 2022. Look at all this. There's the arrest sequence. Lawyers are assigned, affidavits, notice of, all kinds of notices, all kinds of subpoenas, arraignments. Judges are assigned, attorneys are assigned, attorneys are switched. Discovery starts to occur. It goes, look at this. This is what a danger. Hoot Crawford, a local attorney, the sheriff's office and the state attorney are now are trying to put an attorney in prison for representing his client. Where have we heard that before, I wonder? What the hell is going on in America? You know my record on these things, right? Do you think I'm doing this because Hoot's paying me off? Do you think I'm doing this because I just like to aggravate Sheriff Tommy Ford and Larry Bassford? You think I'm doing this for clicks? This is unbelievable. All right, so let's see what WMBB has to say about this. All right, Hoot Crawford arrested. All right, this is their first story. And it's almost like, I'm just saying it's almost like the sheriff's office and WMBB kind of working together on this. Again, watch Tom Lewis and how he presents this to you. All right, I just told you what happened. And listen to their tone. I remember hearing this in May 6, 2022, thinking, damn, Hoot Crawford has lost his mind. No, we were being lied to again. Here you go.
Tom Lewis, a local attorney and former candidate for judge, is in the Bay County Jail tonight on some pretty serious charges. Bay County Sheriff's deputies arrested Billy Joe.
Hey, I want you to notice something, okay? And this is a tell. This is a clue. Notice the emphasis that WMBB puts on him being a candidate, a political candidate, which I believe, now I'm going to tell you something that's not facts, just something based on information and belief that I think that just like Greg Wilson, who was going to run for state attorney, so he was arrested by the Bay County Sheriff's Office because they don't want him as the top prosecutor. Hoot Crawford lost as a judge and intended and said that he was going to run to be the top prosecutor. And of course, he gets arrested. And WMBB cannot stop talking about him being a candidate because they want to destroy him, because they want to make sure he can never win any office. Watch.
Hoot Crawford. Tom Lewis, a local attorney and former candidate for judge, is in the Bay County Jail tonight on some pretty serious charges. Bay County Sheriff's deputies arrested Billy Joe Hoot Crawford this afternoon in downtown Panama City. According to investigators, Crawford tried to interject himself into an interview session at the Child Advocacy Center. CAC and the Department of Children and...
Now, did you hear that? The attorney tried to inject himself into a voluntary interview at the Children's Advocacy Center. He was her attorney, and she's entitled to an attorney. Just like a criminal victim, that's what the Constitution of Florida says. That's what the law is, and it falls specifically under Marcy's law. She was a victim or a potential victim, and the Bay County Sheriff's Office denied her, arrested her attorney. And they say he was arrested for injecting himself into an investigation, into an interview. Tom Lewis says, listen.
Families wanted to question an underage girl in connection with a child abuse case when authorities refused to allow Crawford to take part in that interview.
By the way, these are, again, a child abuse case from many years ago in another state that the girl has since recanted. That's what they're talking about here. Listen.
They say he put the girl in the Department of Children and Families wanted to question an underage girl in connection with a child abuse case. When authorities refused to allow Crawford to take part in that interview, they say he put the girl in his vehicle and left the scene.
Okay,
on the way out of the parking lot, he allegedly...
This is the question. Who actually committed a crime here? The sheriff's office that violated the girl's right to have an attorney, and then when they arrested her attorney, they Baker acted her and made her tell them what her attorney and her had been discussing. Who do you think broke the law here? But who's going to hold them accountable? Why didn't the judge throw this out based on that? By the way, all local judges recused themselves because he's an attorney, and so they have a judge from Walton. He's presiding over this now.
He hit a DCF worker with his vehicle. Deputies managed to stop him near the intersection of 10th Street and Harrison Avenue. They say that he locked...
Okay. Listen to Tom Lewis. He hit a DCF worker with his vehicle, and the sheriff's office managed to stop him. Like this is the great escape.
His doors and refused to come out for more scene. On the way out of the parking lot, he allegedly hit a DCF worker with his vehicle. Deputies managed to stop him near the intersection of 10th Street and Harrison Avenue. They say that he locked his doors and refused to come out for more than an hour. When he finally did exit, deputies arrested him. The child is in the custody of DCF. Crawford ran for judge in 2020, but lost to incumbent Tim Campbell. Tonight, he's facing kidnapping, a minor, hit and run charges, and reckless driving with property damage charges. He's due in court tomorrow for a bond hearing.
You hear that? You hear how they said that about him? WMBB hates you. WMBB is the propaganda arm for people who are unfortunate enough to be arrested by Sheriff Tommy Ford and prosecuted by State Attorney Larry Bassford because Well, in my opinion, because it's unacceptable for somebody to challenge these seats. The election, by the way, for Sheriff Ford and State Attorney Bassford, who is the lead prosecutor over 6 counties in our circuit, is in August. Both of them have challengers. Eric Garman is running against Larry Bassford. He's a former Marine, by the way, and I know you're not supposed to say former Marine, but he was a Marine, or is a Marine, police officer, attorney, and so he's running against. Hey, Eric Garman, you might want to be careful. And if you get arrested because you're challenging one of their seats, I don't know, make a good phone call if you're allowed. I don't know how it works. But, wow. I don't even remember what I was saying. So, you can, I believe, now there's going to be the judge, because I went to an evidentiary hearing last week, and the judge removed the public and the press because there was sensitive stuff being said, allegations of sexual assault and so on and so forth, regarding minors, and they were protecting the identities of the minors. And so I don't know. I guess there are going to be times people would be asked to leave, and times that we can observe the public proceedings. I sure hope so. I mean, a man's life is at risk. They want to put him in state prison. Do you know how dangerous that is for being a lawyer? Meanwhile, the department, the state attorney's office and the sheriff's office, there's no repercussions for breaking the law, violating the Constitution, and preventing a potential victim from having an attorney. And then when they arrest the attorney and Baker Act her and interview her anyway, they ask her what you and your lawyer have been talking about. All right, so that's it. This is the first. I've been neglectful. I didn't realize this was coming so quickly. And I wanted to make sure that I at least sort of got you up to speed on this. All right, again, if you want to look for yourself, here is how you search for it, Bay County Clerk of Courts, and then type in that number under the case number, 2022-019-38CF. That's how you would, and you can read the depositions. You can read, there's all kinds of stuff. Say, Bernie, you're nuts. Well, that might be so, but I'm telling you, this is like what we've been hearing about all over the country. Lawyers being arrested for representing their clients. Unbelievable. All right. A little bit more information in just a moment.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. Tell you what, I'm going to call it now for the night, and more on this as I learn more about it. And I want to thank those of you who support the show by throwing a tip in the tip jar, by becoming a patron as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's anonymous, it's easy, and you can quit at any time. And, of course, thank you to the Unknown Patriot. Appreciate your support so that I can pursue the truth. You can send the watchman to tell you what he sees, and that's exactly what I'll do.